So what do you get when you push sub-regulars to the point of pure insanity? A mutiny, apparently. I, like many people, find those drama recap videos to be irresistibly entertaining. I personally can't stand being involved in drama myself, though, and generally like to abide by a very live and let live kind of attitude. But other people's drama? Sign me right up. I want to know every detail. This one I'm not involved in as anything more than a bystander, but it does hit a little closer to home. If you already frequent the fantasy romance subreddit, then you may have already seen some of the chaos of the last few weeks. And if you know nothing about Reddit, then I can only recommend that you close the internet now and save your sanity. But for some context, Reddit is a loosely forum-esque social media platform where people can form dedicated groups or subreddits to discuss really any topic. Anyone with a Reddit account can contribute to these subs either in the form of posts directly to the sub itself or in the form of comments added to the posts. Each sub is manned by one head moderator, usually the person who created the sub in the first place, and then however many co-moderators they deem to appoint. Mods are responsible for making sure that Reddit-wide rules are followed, and then setting up sub-specific rules, along with whatever other responsibilities they want to take on to make the sub run well and build a community. Theoretically, this is a decent model for community building. In reality, Reddit mods are rather notorious for being power-tripping dictators, laying down the law unevenly, permabanning users for minor infractions, and breaking their own rules simply because they can. Now, this certainly isn't all mods and not all subreddits, but it is common enough that poor Reddit moderating has become something of the common Reddit experience. It's also an open secret that only a handful of the same people run most of the biggest subreddits, with most mods manning at least a few subs themselves. There's a lot of moderator overlap, and with that many commitments, these people are spending so much time online that it's inevitable that they would get disconnected from reality. But that's sort of beside the point. Today, we're talking about r/fantasy romance, a sub dedicated to, just like it sounds, the discussion of fantasy romance books. The sub currently boasts about 216,000 members and is the place for reviews, questions, recommendations, and discussions in the fantasy romance genre. Now, romance is my bread and butter, and fantasy is my other great love. I still need to properly dive into the genre in its entirety, but out of what I have read, I have found multiple that I've just adored. Now, the problems in r/fantasy romance actually begin with a lack of moderation. When you shove thousands of people together in a space with little to no rules, and let them post whatever they want, you tend to invite some chaos. Or, in this case, repetitive posts to the point that sub-regulars get quite fed up. Fantasy romance is, for lack of a better term, a really trendy genre right now. It has absolutely exploded in popularity, in large part due to book social media. And like anything trendy, attracts a lot of new fans wanting to know what's what and hop on the hype train. When you have that many new people, and people in general, some moderation is generally needed in order to keep the sub running properly and cut down on repetitive and low-effort posts. The ones in particular plaguing this sub are choose for me style posts in which someone posts pictures of a handful of usually incredibly popular different book covers, asking which book they should read next with little more context. Simple questions, like, am I the only one who hated this really popular book? What should I read after ACOTAR or Fourth Wing? Questions that people ask all the time. Essentially, posts that take almost no time to make and invite no deeper discussion. They don't add much to the sub and are such easy posts to make that they absolutely overtake more discussion-heavy posts that take more effort. Even with a very active mod team, these posts are a lot of work to keep under control. Now, here's the crux of the problem. The fantasy romance sub only has one moderator, a user by the name of High Lady Fireheart. Repetitive posts were everywhere, and High Lady Fireheart was usually unreachable, regularly taking weeks or even months to respond to mod requests. A sub-regular by the username Carrick's Coulter posted a poll asking the community if they thought the sub needed more mods, and the answer was an overwhelming yes. The head mod did respond to this post saying that new mods would be added, but no changes were made. A follow-up was posted a few days later, reiterating the sub's issues and offering some solutions, as well as asking for more transparency as there had been no communication on how new mods were being selected. It would take a few more days on top of that, but the head mod did additionally post 2 polls asking if this or that post should be restricted. The answer was yes. And if there should be a minimum community karma to make posts. Also yes. As well as naming one new mod. A user by the name of Anna Cha-Cha, who had been regularly posting in the sub for a few years at that point. Anna immediately went to task, adding automod, working on the wiki, implementing new rules that the community had been begging for, and even finagling an Ask Me Anything with author Carissa Broadbent. All would soon turn south though, as after only a few days as a mod, Anna would have most of her mod abilities revoked, many of her improvements undone, and some of her posts even deleted. The head mod would go completely AWOL, no longer even commenting and completely ignoring any attempts to contact her even on other platforms. This sent the community into something of a tailspin, with only a few options seeming possible. First option, start a new subreddit entirely, leaving this one to its fate and working to grow a new community with the structure and discussion they were all craving. Some were in favor of this, but mostly it was seen as a if nothing else works sort of solution. 2 is just hope that High Lady Fireheart eventually responds and that things would get better. Unlikely. 3, a full-on sub-mutiny. Reporting the head mod to Reddit admins for being inactive and abusing mod powers, and staging a full-on sub-boycott until changes happened. The community opted for option number 3. There would be no more new posts, no comments, no activity until the head mod took some accountability and positive changes were seen. The sub-users would also mass report the head mod to see if that would work as well. Of course, this couldn't go smoothly. One of the biggest pitfalls of how Reddit in general is formatted is how easy it is to miss important posts, especially on big communities. And I'll have a whole video about that someday. The entire user interface is so clunky and doesn't work very well for fandom, in my opinion. I also believe that Anna did not even have the mod capabilities to pin the boycott announcement, so a lot of people missed it and continued to post as normal. Which was met with, I don't even know if I want to call it hostility, but usually a reminder that there was a boycott going on and asking not to make posts or comment. But there was also a great deal of downvoting on any and all posts and comments, which did not go unnoticed. The main issue with downvoting is that it's supposed to be used as a this comment is off topic and or does not meaningfully contribute to the discussion button rather than a I disagree or dislike this button. This is a Reddit-wide problem though and is not enforced nearly anywhere on the entire site. Downvote abuse is probably the single most common issue site-wide. In my opinion, Reddit karma is both fake and cringe, and complaining about it is even more cringe. But complain people did. This is also when some backlash against more moderation started showing up. Not a lot, granted, but the sentiments were there. People who actually like the this or that book posts, people worried that a minimum karma requirement would keep new people from posting. It's set at 10, which is just one decent comment or a couple of less decent comments. And in my opinion, it's always a good idea to join in on some discussions before actually trying to make your own, so this one I'm all for. They also were worrying that more rules would make the community less welcoming and more alienating to new users because new users are incapable of reading the rules before they participate. A user by the name of Purplicious had some excellent advice on this topic, saying that Reddit in general has unwritten rules, one of which is that newbies lurk and learn. And you can learn a lot that way. You will see that there are many posters who are looking for the same type of books that you are. You will see that some books are recommended over and over again and have a generally good reaction. You will see that there is a romance.io bot. You will see that some types of books and comments get good feedback, and which posts and comments get a lot of pushback. You will see that some posters know a lot about a lot of things, and you will see some posters push back pretty hard. And you will see that some posters go down swinging. Before you know it, you will find yourself engaged in commenting in a helpful and productive way, and your karma will quickly reach the levels so that you can post. The biggest mistake I see newbies making is that they post without reading the room. The terms of service you might be familiar with at another site do not apply here. Read the room, listen, upvote and downvote posts that interest you, and comment when you feel you would make a contribution. There's a great deal of information that can be gleaned just from observing for a bit before jumping in to participate yourself. and you'll endear yourself to the existing community a lot better that way. There were also a few users wanting to play devil's advocate and make a case for High Lady Fireheart, but given that her inactivity as a mod was frequent and people had about reached their boiling point with giving her grace on this, those pleas didn't sway anyone. Anna did step in at that point, kindly asking everyone to calm down, and said to give it 30 days to see if any improvement would be made, as High Lady Fireheart was no longer actively standing in the way of her moderating. Finally, she asked that the community pause the protest for the moment. As it turns out, the mass reporting would be the thing that did the trick. The Reddit admins would contact Anna, letting her know that they had been getting a lot of reports, and she was able to explain the situation and regain her mod permissions. She got back to work almost immediately, opening applications for new mods, selecting 4 more to help with the sub, and I believe that a few more will be selected in the coming weeks, hosting a community survey to gather feedback for improving the sub, and implementing other changes like delayed karma counts, setting up regularly scheduled mega threads, adding new post flares, etc., etc. If you catch this video before July 29th, the survey will still be up and you can go answer the questions and contribute to the future of the sub. Things are looking up. Though we still haven't heard a word from the head mod, for now it is smooth sailing, other than dozens of Reddit glitches, but that's to be expected on any part of the site, and the community is adjusting to better moderation. So what do you think of all of this? Are you a regular poster over there? How do you feel like all of this was handled? Are you just someone who enjoys some light drama every now and then, like me? Personally, I like this community for recommendations and discussions, and even though I don't participate very often, I am glad to see that people are invested in making it a better place. My hat's off, and I hope that this is the end of the drama, though I'll be sure to cover it if anything else happens. Thank you all for watching, though, and have a spectacular day.